What?
Look at all that bells in that new scale.
I noticed that. You know, all in one piece.
Look at it. Oh, there. Ooh. How much you got on this guy?
Sweetie? Yeah.
Now this is the perfect size pack.
Don't kick you. Which one are you talking about?
I don't know. Right.
You got this stuff?
That used to be on the bed.
Who's over there?
Yeah, when I was in here with you before, we
Oh,
were looking at this.
Why did they pry up the floor anyway?
I don't know.
You tied these things in. Did you run all the way across the room?
No. They're
Just
there's a lag screw goes down into
Yeah.
this log, and then it goes back into that purlin.
Yeah.
Yeah, let
And
me
it's
go
chopped
down.
out on the other end to make a seat for the washers.
Sure.
To pull them together.
Fun.
You see, it had
old
wire
pan?
holding this. He had them
Got
all
his
cut to
old
fit, but they
tools?
were missing by 3 inches, you see, and we pulled the whole thing in.
Pulled it all.
Come on in.
Okay.
Yeah, we may not be.
We're trying to do it
That's true.
with a little conspicuous.
Yeah.
This is where he kept his bear suit. This is where he
Oh,
kept his
Everything's
bear
gone up here in the mezzanine.
Okay.
And the mezzanine was just full of leftover
Oh, yeah.
packing equipment and everything, it's all gone.
You wanna look?
Well,
There's some old,
I think Lee Layton took a lot of stuff out of here.
suit. You do? Yes.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it.
there are the ski poles for his old homemade skis hanging over there.
Homemade bed.
Oh, where?
Oh, yeah.
Right there by the fishing, behind the
Oh,
fishing
yeah.
poles.
What is it?
The homemade ski, or the ski poles for the homemade skis that he made out of,
Oh, the hickory
And he
skis?
broke his.
Where's
Well,
the
no, they're-
photograph? The old wind-up photograph?
that's gone, that's long gone.
Now, what was on the pole here, Frank?
This is just a brace they put in last year.
Oh,
A brace?
oh, they put that, they pulled up the floorboards to put the brace in, I
Yeah,
guess.
right,
Is
they,
that the
they
reason?
felt that north wall was,
Getting shaky?
yeah.
Okay.
And this kerosene stove over here is something that Matsumoto brought up,
I
gravity
thought they were
flow.
looking for gold under the blocks.
Oh,
Probably do better.
It's been rumored for years, you know,
already?
that he had gold
That he
buried
had
under these
gold?
blocks.
Uh-huh.
And you think that's why somebody
No,
tried that out?
No, they wanted to put those props in there.
Well,
I brought
I
this
don't-
whack up for.
I don't understand the
I
reason
think
for
it's,
that.
Beyond, beyond use.
Or what?
Pulling
Dick?
his block.
Dick Wild,
Yeah,
what was the reason for the braces?
the guy that put the roof on apparently thought the north wall was,
Well, the guy that put the roof on didn't know what he was doing, so he did that too.
apparently something.
He
There was
didn't need
nothing
a
about
roof?
the roof that was on here.
We all contributed to a new roof. He said he needed a roof.
That's right.
He was a
David
contract, he
Tarleton.
was a young
We got
contractor.
Con.
Oh, well.
Volunteer roofers was here. Remember he used to talk to himself on this board? Lucy County, our 630 Found Lost Girl.
Melissa County, SAR,
Gadwell, summer '84, Gadwell Duck.
found lost girl.
No, I wasn't here.
Gadwell. He used to talk to himself on here, you know, and answer
Here's one of
himself.
your ancestors, Toy.
Joy,
Toy-
no, it isn't.
No?
Not a
Oh, I can remember a day waking up in the rain.
In here?
Yes, George going, stay in bed,
Oh, this-
starting the fire,
This is bad.
cooking the hot cocoa.
This table, you know how he made this table?
I probably read,
He had
yes.
a tree, log, wide as this.
Yeah.
He cut the thing off, he sawed down 5 feet, and he moved over 3 inches, and he sawed down 5 feet again, and he cut the bottom through and shaped the sides, and he had a tabletop out of a solid log.
This must
Sugar
have been
pine.
when he was writing when that guy looked in the drawer.
What?
This must have been where he was writing when that guy looked in the
That's
drawer.
right,
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
I have a picture, which I'll show you when you get around to it, of George feeding Johnson through the window. And then I have another picture. I have a picture of Johnson on the outside receiving the candy. And then I have another picture of George on the inside feeding Johnson.
What happened to that phonograph? I remember it blasting out when I was here in the
I don't know.
60s.
Yeah, This,
He
this,
did it,
this,
yeah,
this,
he
but
did
this
it- he
stove,
did it in
this stove, in retribution, this stove had a forest fire up here on the ridge someplace. George needed a new stove. This belonged to the Forest Service. They brought it up here to fight the fire with. George went up with the donkeys and he got it. That's where he got the hose from the spring. Fighting
what?
the-
Oh, for the
the
forest
fighting the
service.
forest fire. He's found it up on the, after they got through fighting the fire.
I can remember him in the morning waking up, you see him stark naked with a towel over his shoulder, walking down the stream at
Well,
6 o'clock in the morning
you
while
see-
I'd be in bed in my sleeping bag.
Well, you see, he had the sink here, which is gone now. There was a sink there.
Yeah.
I remember.
He had the sink there, but Adeline's mother-in-law thought that her daughter should have running water in the cabin. And so George found this hose and he went up to the spring, he put a cable across to the cabin, hung the hose on the cable, brought it in here and ran into the sink, so she had continuous running water. There's no way to turn it off, but continuous running water in the sink. I wonder what this guy's
I
doing.
don't know. Posterity, posterity.
NBC.
What is this from? Emergency map of Nevada.
But this table has always fascinated me because it is never checked, never cracked. 3 feet wide, 5 feet long, one slab out of a sugar pine tree,
Were these,
and 3 inches thick.
were these replaced? The floor,
No, these are the
these are
originals.
original.
And actually, George contemplated a long time about how he was going to do this floor. But this floor he had a lot of blocks, you know, and this was the only logical solution to this floor, ingrained blocks.
Come on in, Sean.
But he spent the winter, after he built the cabin, he had to get shelter. He spent the winter building the furniture and building the cabinet work out of, with always with a saw right out of the blocks of wood.
See, he made this table out of 1 block of wood, and he made these parquets for the floor, and he made all that furniture, and he had a wood stove, and he made wonderful hotcakes on that wood stove. And up here was a little, here were his beds, and up here was a balcony where he sometimes made bear stew, made stew and things out of bear, and shrimp stew, and he used to keep all his extra stuff up there.
I'm gonna repeat a story here that a lot of you have heard. But you know, George always had mother-in-law problems.
Yeah.
He had 3 wives, and each one of them, with the exception of Clara, the last one, who was at the thing we went to. But anyway, one mother-in-law showed up at the trailhead. She was worried about her daughter. She had a crate of chickens.
Yeah.
You've heard the story.
Yeah.
She had a crate of chickens. And so she thought her daughter should at least have fresh eggs. And so George had to pack the crate of chickens on the donkeys and bring them up here. Well, the donkeys, crate chickens up on the balcony, and they were just making a mess of the whole place. There were feathers all over the place and various other types of excrement. So every night, George would open the door, he'd let one chicken out. Finally, he let the last chicken out. Each time the chickens went out, you know, the varmints got and eliminated a chicken, there was no more problem.
Was this Adeline's mother?
Yeah.
Must have been.
Yeah,
So that was the end of the
Younger one,
chickens.
yeah.
But,
Because Claire, did you know Claire?
Yeah, oh, well, I met her in November.
well,
but-
yeah,
Oh,
well,
she
Claire's
came,
an
did
old
she
friend.
come to
did.
services?
Claire's an
Yeah.
old friend of mine. Claire was the women's club editor on the Examiner. And George was a shipwright on the waterfront. So Claire worked during the social season on the Examiner. George worked on the waterfront. And when summer came, they both took off for the mountains.
Yeah, yeah.
And they lived in the Montgomery block across from my office.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
So,
and,
On the Montgomery block, before the Transamerica
well, the
building, right?
Montgomery block is where the Transamerica
Right.
building is now. The
Right.
Montgomery block was completed in 1852, you know.
Yeah.
And it should have been a historical monument. But anyway, that's where, there were a lot of wonderful people lived in there at that time.
Yeah.
There was poets and writers and artists.
and he had a garden and he grew his own vegetables and he would
Well,
can them and put made
let's see, the
wonderful
alarm
food.
clock
He'd
is
put them
still
up in
here.
jars. From a history of deer every year.
but his library is gone.
Venison, good stew and jerky,
Well,
deer jerky, bear
He had-
jerky.
That was
he
a
had a
awful
mar-
story.
what?
Yeah. There's some food out there.
That was, what was that guy's name,
Almonds
Peter?
and there's
I think he
cheesy
burned a lot.
cranberries.
No, that was they left.
No, it was before that. Yeah.
No, they had a lot of Kierkegaard,
Uh-huh.
and a lot of Joseph Conrad.
Big library.
Well,
And an old
I hope the Forest Service doesn't mess up the building any further.
Well, it's remarkable they're keeping it. In most of the cabins.
You want the cheese and crackers and stuff? Cheese and crackers and nuts?
His floor, his cedar tree he did.
But I don't know why this brace is here. I don't know what it's gonna do.
Do you know why they dug up the?
For this brace.
that in.
You know, this building stood since 1936 without a brace like that. And every year the chimney was taken down. I bet they don't even take the chimney down anymore.
No.
Well, anyway,
Why did they need to take the chimney down?
Because of the snowfall.
the snow.
What's his name? This looks like a speaker.
Oh, it is a radio.
No, the one underneath, see with the.
Oh,
around.
oh, I don't know. It looks like a cage. That, or what? Why'd they have a speaker for a radio? Oh, there's not these one? Another trunk. I don't know how they could.
Whatever anyone wants to do, but one consideration is, yes,
So you go from that to Baco
so we need to know what you all like. And I don't even have any idea. So I'm not pushing it.
Hello, young man.
Maybe we have a bigger knife, that's awfully small. Does anybody have a big knife, slicing knife? Yeah. There, George had one in his cabin, a huge knife, but I don't think it's good enough.
Well, who's
Somebody-
that right up there?
Somebody has a machete or something, anybody, huh?
Look on that canvas hanger. Look up, look up, look up. Look on the front of it. To your right, up.
Oh, hey, there's a machete.
And he was mad at them folks too. So that's a nice,
Oh, there's a knife.
when we picked him up
He just has long hair.
Wooden chamber.
John Johnson that come from Wisconsin that work in the lumber mill there. When I go down the street, all the girls that I meet say, "Yoo-hoo, what's your name?" And I say, "My name is John Johnson. I come from
somebody
Wisconsin."
left the roast beef?
The Packers told us.
Here, that's not,
They found roast beef in the car?
They said they left it there. Maybe they were just telling us today.
We're kidding. You'd have Olga. You'd have heard from Olga by
We
now.
fell for it.
You shouldn't issue propaganda.
I don't even eat this stuff. Well, I wasn't concerned.
I know because I parked both the cars and there was no roast beef in the other one of them.
Good. I thought that'd be a fairly serious thing to overlook.
Is there?
Oh.
man, trying to decide what we put when. But one thing is, people, some.
I hadn't said hello.
So, you got an
Yeah,
idea?
yeah.
Well, what can we do?
I ran into somebody up in Mendocino. I met so many people before this last week that I don't remember just yet.
You know something about Nepal?
We'll have to spend some time there and still spend time there. I've heard of you.
Hi, how are you?
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
That's all I got right now. Connected to me.
A lot of people, it's amazing.
I'm carrying my cup.
The Prime Minister, this is mine. The Prime Minister asked me this. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, compared to what they are accomplishing a lot, but compared to what the agent
So it's nice to be together. Exactly, you know. Hey, question.
I think later. Oh, I noticed.
One more. But anyhow, and on the way back, walked a little further than across into a place called
that was this.
Everything's tied up, the barrels and the boxes are all tied together around the trees. Most of the bears are.
I should have a pipe to puff on here and.
I think so, and pivots are telling me what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
No. No.
At this stage, you might have a little thing down here. I don't know. The first thing he would do when he came down from
Yeah. No, mine is home with kids.
See here.
And Dick.
would spend the first 2 days until
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, all old buds of George's. We're all good friends because we're benefactors. You know.
It was,
Yeah.
it was an awful. So I said, you come home with me. It was a tough. I mean, Rick and I, he had one I saw.
You know what?
So, did we bring the steak a couple weeks ago?
Oh, right.
No, it was getting worse and worse and worse. It was getting worse.
We should have some thinner ones coming up this way here.
These some littler ones?
Yeah, because these too big. Yeah. Oh, that would be good there. Yeah, good.
So more like that, huh?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm the local representative of the uniform building.
Gotta have someone around to make sure it's up to specs, right?
You see, today legally I wouldn't be able to build this cabin.
You got that right. You got that right.
You know, that money's got to come from someplace. That's got to come from
George would like to read that.
Hi, good morning. Oh, now you got another one. Oh,
yes. This has coffee cake contribution. When we went trekking in '88 with some friends, and they asked my Surdar, where are we going today? So he points up the mountain, and the friend I just said, well, that's a piece of cake. So Thunderup said, piece cake, what piece cake? What means piece cake? So it said, well, that means...
I'll bet not. You're lucky if you can get your teeth apart after one of those, because I think
Don't
they're
get your
filled
teeth
with
near the
pitch.
flames.
Yeah. Breathe on the fire and blow up, eh?
He's doing that all the time. I can't pick my nose or anything.
Photographers are notorious.
Yeah, I know. I'm mad, but he's bad.
Though the football players get used to the fact that they can scratch their ass on national TV, we can both make this jump. Ah!
Easy living.
How about that?
Yeah.
Sure is.
Take my shoes off for a while. Enjoy the scenery. That's it. You slap all the flies for me, will you?
Well, one or
How about a
two.
fan? How about a large fan?
We don't have.
Actually, I need two of you, one on each side.
We don't even have a
Drag the
fly
mosquitoes
swatter.
away.
I only get the ones that sit on my legs because sometimes they like to bite.
We can put up the electric zapper.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Sure we can.
What do those things do
Who's
to
gonna
people, I
ride the
wonder?
bicycle? I wonder if George's aerial is still. I think that's it.
You had an antenna one too?
Yeah.
Okay.
I bet it's still there.
Maybe
You listen to
that's
the
it.
Democratic National Convention.
Well, if you stay, yeah, you can. You're going to be staying tomorrow night.
I'll be here long enough. I don't know that I want to listen to it, but
I guess that's
anyway, we don't have a radio.
You'll be spared.
I will be spared.
I'll probably get to hear a little bit.
I'll read the review next weekend.
It's some kind of a show.
It's kind of like wrestling, isn't it?
I'd like to hear
networks
Cuomo.
are only going to do an hour a night.
I know, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Yeah, sure. What's he doing?
I can't get it. No, I can watch it.
He makes more money than that.
Now, does that have sound?
It's part of it. It's a service.
Recording now?
They're paying this guy, $17, $18 an hour.
I don't want it.
You know, for somebody that's unskilled labor, they can read and write exactly back. Old bones. No investment. Okay. Can you show Steve where the... Looks good.
Yesterday thinking this would be a good project to do. Once it starts crumbling, it just invites more water gets in there.
I was just happy that we were able to get out done. That was... Were you here when it
No.
It was
Oh.
overflowing. I mean, it was beyond use. I have a picture of that. You have a picture of the outhouse on the creek? Yeah. Oh, beside the creek.
Typewriter art.
Typewriter art.
Typewriter art? Yeah.
This is a drawing I made for the restoration of the cabin.
Oh, yeah.
John?
And the measurements and the detail, how I put it together, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, this was just...
George's map.
Wow.
And what was it, Frank?
What?
What was it?
That's the first letter that George wrote to me a couple of years after we met. That's the map he drew for me on how to get here.
Oh, well, that's quite interesting, actually, I think.
Yeah, well, I've got a lot of quite interesting stuff here to me. Oh, here's an interesting one.
You know, I saved a lot of
Here's an interesting one. Here's when he ordered a saddle for me.
About light.
One. He needed a new saddle. This is something interesting, Mary Lou.
Oh, look at that.
I think you should see that.
That's amazing.
That's a typewriter.
Yeah.
Well, read the story.
Dear Frank, in my crude way, I make this representation of a donkey as a donkey actually looks. It is a mountain donkey, a living, alert one, in no way to be confused with the malign, beaten-down creatures that you and most others, through popular ignorance, imagine donkeys to be. You will note that there is poise in this fellow. He stands in a high place, presumably looking over a canyon. He carries his head high, not shamefully low like you would depict him. His ears are erect, probably the most sensitive hearing device nature ever contrived. This is not meant to be a drawing, only a suggestion for one. The ears aren't correct, but maybe the idea is there.
I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's great.
let's see the drawing.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Can we see it, Todd?
Yeah. Is that all with his typewriter?
Yeah,
Parts
I
of
think
it,
it's smeared.
I guess
Parts
it
of
all
it
is.
definitely are.
Most of it
Just
is.
point it toward the camera.
Well, this one probably doesn't have much interest. It's just
Okay.
a letter that he wrote to me after arriving up here one time.
Now
This
this-
is the famous fisher. This is the famous fisher he shot up here, and he sent the skin down to me to be tanned. And the fisher is an endangered species, and I had to devise some kind of an animal that it was so that I could get a tanner to tan it without putting George in jail. Somebody got that skin. I don't know who it was and made a hat out of it, some girl. But I don't know, one of you, I don't know.
Nobody's going to admit it.
Don't lump us all together, not one of us.
He had a lot of girlfriends, you know.
You better not wear that hat up in Portland.
I don't know, maybe I can read this. Dear Frank, some skins here are on their way out. So hang on to that skin. Hope it went through the mill okay. About the medallion. Oh, this is one of those coins that he made. About the medallion. There's a chap in the country here who is proficient in working gold. We'll have him melt down a few ounces and mold some into a piece just to see how it comes out. Yeah, it's an unbelievable year. Much May weather in March, too good to be true. Expect some winter coming up. As the weather has gone crazy, as the people, everything in the cabin exactly as I left it last fall. No fishers, no bears, no pack rats. Have to hurry as the skins are waiting.
I have something to show you.
Signed, George. Oh, we had to go all the way into Lookout to find enough snow.
Oh,
all right. Well, that's the sort of thing.
Okay.
I thought I saw them in the
Oh, okay.
cooler.
You can do that.
Here.
Now this one.
This is about you, so I have to show it to you.
Well, I showed it to Todd because it was about him. Now,
Oh, here you are.
this is particularly interesting to me and of historical interest, I think.
1965. Dear Frank, I have a chance to send some mail out to some people from downriver, up here fishing, and thought to you would be appropriate. My condition, physical-wise, is now normal again, and I am much my old self once more. The fellow I brought up with me has been very helpful, gradually, little by little, we are restoring the flat around the cabin in something of its normal appearance. But from now on, I suppose the dates will be reckoned here as in other places in this part of the state by the years before and after the Great Flood of '65. Surely nothing like this has been seen in at least 1,000 years. End of paragraph. Water at least 3 feet deep all over the flat, and by the logs it carried with it, one must say that it came in a terrific rush. Logs 2 feet in diameter couldn't have been moved in less water, even though it came as a torrent. My fence and my garden were completely carried away. By summer camp, washed clean of everything, fireplace, stove, and all. Down the canyon they went. A big fir, 4 feet at the butt, was washed out and fell crashing against my woodshed, or through my woodshed, excuse me, bringing down the forest rubble all over the flat. The amazing thing, though, is that my cabin is perfectly dry. No water had entered at all. This typewriter, for instance, stood on the floor in its case and is undamaged. The only explanation coming to me is that my cabin, having been concreted on the up canyon side and sent the flood on the other side. A tree there helped divert it. That's the tree that's standing behind the cabin now. And coming in a torrent, the logs coming against the tree, lies against the tree, offering further protection. Grizzly Creek didn't carry much of the water. It couldn't have been much above its level in high water of 58. But up the North Fork, a mile or so above Grizzly, there was a slide of earth and trees that fell across, creating a dam. I'm not reading this too carefully. I don't read well. Some places I get the tense wrong, so excuse me. And it was then the dam broke and all hell let loose. One thing done that is of consideration to all, even you, is that the North Fork appears to be stripped of fish. I haven't done much fishing, but the few times I've tried it, there has been scarcely a strike. But I don't think this is so with grizzly. So to you, I can say there is good fishing. Come on up, fill your lungs for a change, or tampered with in any way. He's speaking of my smoking. Stretch your legs, flex your muscles, find out firsthand what it means to be alive. It isn't always that I'm so lavish with my advertising. Your friend George. I think that's a nice letter.
That's a wonderful letter.
And his has a historic quality.
That's wonderful, yeah.
Now here's one that somebody else will have to read. I can't.
Well, read
Oh, wait a minute now. Let me
loud,
see what it's
so I
about.
can hear. I mean, Frank.
Sorry. How do you want carrots?
You see, he had some problems. He had an accident with a car in San Francisco. And in order to avoid a subpoena, he disappeared for about until the statute of limitations was through with.
Oh, really?
And I was telling Olga about this, and she was very much interested. And I'll tell you all about it now. But you see, one rainy night in San Francisco, he bumped a Chinese lady with his little old Nash in Chinatown, and he put a runner in her stocking. And he got out of the car, and she assured him she was all right. He wanted to drive her any place she wanted to go, and she said everything's all right. Soon after that, she got a subpoena, or he got a subpoena from a lady lawyer who was suing him. Apparently, that he had a gold mine, etc., etc. And he was about ready to go anyway, and he disappeared into the North Country without known address. And he took his car and he hid it in the brush back by the North Fork, behind the Wise's place, and he stayed there until he was assured that there was no more danger. The statute of limitations was over, because he was notified by his insurance agent that because of the litigation he could no longer insure the car, and he didn't want to get caught, and there were several correspondence around, but he had no known address. Of course, I was informed of all of this so that I could protect him, and he finally notified me that it was clear, and he came in to start the car and get it out of the woods, and he eventually gave it away. This is something that very few people know about because they shouldn't have. This letter is kind of fun, I think. Dear Frank, my last letter was not meant to extract money from you. Anyhow, I can remember only something about $20. What is the other 10 for? I didn't need any of this, being well heeled for the whole summer. Rather, in case you have had extra change on hand, I think you might spend it in improving your pool game. A few lessons, maybe, from any one of the sharpers hanging around those town halls. Let's be thinking about these things. As it stands, I have money, and I don't need while your pool is languishing. The first thing we did when he come back from the mountains was to head down for the Tenderloin at a pool hall and play a little pool. And he usually beat me, unfortunately.
What's the date of that letter?
It's July 15th, and I have no year.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize these were going to be collector's items. However, although you don't seem to have much talent with a cue pole, I recall that you handle a fish pole with a good deal of talent. And while there is not a great deal of resemblance between the two, inasmuch as their purposes differed, you could guess that an adroit hand with one should manipulate the other cleverly. But this theory, having been proved false, I would suggest that you might prove me right on the other one by coining, well, there's a word there that I can't read, and making up for the fishing chores hereabout. While I have a would-be fisherman who is supposed to be doing his work, I can't put up with it much longer with 3 fish as a day's catch. More often the catch is limited to a single miserable, bedraggled specimen of a fish, hardly a fish at all. From that standpoint of my convalescence, he'd been ill. From that standpoint of my convalescence, as you might know, a full meal is essential now and then. And fish being an important item in my diet, you can see my problem. Some of this is sarcasm.
Really? From George.
From your letter, and by methods of calculation known to me, I realize full well the problems of a father these days, a family man, an architect, in pursuit of a happy life, and having a taste for the little pleasures that everybody has a right to expect must be serious at times. Somewhere, I guess, such a man has to do a lot of eliminating along the line of what he would like to do, and cut out many pleasures, even many simple ones. Furthermore, I guess that every family man, particularly a family man, must be prepared for many disappointments. For I have never known a family yet that has turned out as either parent wished. I have heard of families of this kind, but I have never known one firsthand. If children have a characteristic that is common at all, it must be the characteristic of disappointing either their father or their mother or both. I think that's a wonderful statement. Certainly, I was such a disappointment. And looking around, I think of very many who weren't disappointments. Common sense would seem to say that the things for fathers to do, and mothers too for that matter, parentheses, and choose and drift along as they damn well will do anyway. What?
You missed a sentence.
Oh. I did, huh?
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, all right, I'm sorry, too. What was I? Oh, it could be that there are a few who will listen to Dad's counseling on the guy to marry or the girl to marry about going to school and not going to school and so forth and so forth. But it's a pretty sure thing that if they are guided by this counseling and do as Dad says, they are weak sticks to begin with, and this weakness will overtake them sooner or later.
That's classic. We're not with consolation.
Don't you think this shows something about George?
Indeed.
Let me put this down here. It's going to slide off again.
That's a wonderful little
philosophical All right, there's more of it. There's more of it, you know. I told you this was a lesson in philosophy. As proof of this, I have no further to look than Hugh here. Now, I might explain who is a Woodbury fisherman. Hugh is a self-styled
Hey,
cowboy.
leave my mule alone.
What?
No, I'm telling Davey.
Hugh is a self-styled cowboy who came up here with a couple of dogs whom he treated as sled dogs. And he was the one that got me to Cabin Peak by mistake. And he eventually rolled off bank on the road in here from Helena in his Jeep and was killed. But Hugh hung around here, and you'll gather that. One night he told me that he made a mistake in not doing what his father wanted him to do, that is continue college and become a college professor. And so big things in the world. His dad was quite a mark to shoot at, really. A lecturer of ancient history at Columbia and at many other universities. The author of a number of well-known books, one of which I remember reading one time. His mother, a successful novelist, and together the Paulos, that is the name Paulo in parentheses, our stepfather and mother to Richard Halliburton, whom they adopted at the age of 12. This made Hugh the younger brother of a kid who made $1 million as a show-off of stuff as, parentheses, the royal roads to romance, parentheses, new words to conquer, new worlds to and so forth, and then lost his life in the middle of all of this to sail the Pacific in a Chinese junk. Maybe you remember something about him. Well, everybody must, who was around in the late 20s and early 30s, well, we all remember Richard Halliburton, I'm sure. Richard Halliburton went around the world in a junk and wrote a lot of adventure stories about his own life.
The Royal Road to Romance.
Would you like me to?
Yeah, why don't you read it out loud? My voice is going out and I'm not doing it.
We're starting in any case. In any case, you stop me if you wish to make comment.
I may.
In any case, you didn't like it. He didn't like college, and after a couple of years, flunking out everything, he quit for good and became an airline pilot. He did bush flying for 2 years in Alaska, stunt flying in Hollywood. Quite an interesting fellow, actually, but you can understand a great disappointment to his family, especially in that he was an only son, and as I have indicated, he is a disappointment to me, too. He is a quiet, easygoing chap of 48, genial and good to get along with, but he never will be any good at catching fish. He is a dream fisherman, looking into a pool and losing himself in a dream, or which is just as bad, gazing off into the trees. What he sees there, or what he dreams about, I have no idea. But I have found out that he has a good mind, but he is practically unread. For a chap coming from a literary family, it is surprising that he doesn't know something about books. And all the more so when he tells me that his mother used to read him her manuscripts to get his reaction to them. These days, relieved of his fishing duties, he is trying to make amends book-wise by reading all day. He he regrets that he didn't take his father's advice, and this he should never do. And I think his father was wrong in trying to force the issue. It probably raised a mental block in the kid's mind by doing just that. He had a life of his own to lead, and being stubborn and obstinate, he would damn well lead it in his own way. And this is the way it is with any kid, girl or boy, with any mettle in him. Whatever a kid does most likely is the right thing for that kid, considering that he is a separate and distinct individual in his own right, and so is outside and beyond the father's understanding. It isn't true that a father knows what's best for his boy or girl, either whom he or she should or should not marry, or, well, who am I to go into all of this? I was thinking he was really writing this about you and me, Joe.
Or me. He's writing to me, and obviously he's lecturing me.
Really, what this is all about is that I'm hungry for a few full-fledged fish dinners. It hasn't come to that state of things wherein I have to do my own fishing. Be thinking of these things on dull days. Now, Hugh has a car waiting at Hobo Gulch and is a dependable driver.
Oh, he is. Oh, what an awful driver. Go on.
If you and Ricky have notions about coming up, I can assure you that the car and driver are in your service. A bus connects these parts with the other regions, but of course it will be necessary to know specific dates. Your date of arrival at Junction City, for example. In the matter of Judd, I am not adverse to his coming, but I should like him to be your responsibility.
Wonderful. How do you like that? This is Judd Murray. That's his father.
By which I mean that he will be in your care, not mine. In other words, you will keep the assorted bees and wasps from stinging him. You will nurse him when his gout cripples him and he can't walk. You will watch his smokes, every one of them, and you will show him where and how to fish. No doubt these are small matters, but I think you will understand that I'm in no condition to cope with them, leastwise not temperamentally. Yours for a good week or so, George. That's classic. That's wonderful. Now you should have a copy of this.
Well, there are other things that deserve copies here. We haven't got it them by a long shot. Right, well, where's the stuff I wrote?
So that must have
Listen,
been just before his first trip, eh?
You're the librarian. What am I writing? This is one that the lawyers would be interested in.
Let's see what the postmark is, just for fun. May 1960. Always good to have these things in
This is what August should be here to listen to, too.
Rain, rain, and more rain, rising streams of snow in the back country. Mrs. Wise had gone to Ukiah a few days before my arrival here, so I am comfortably waiting a change in weather and the appearance of my donkey stray. This will be Friday, Saturday, or early next week. That is, it will be when it is convenient for their hauler to bring them. Certainly in the circumstances, I am in no hurry, for I have no wish whatever to buck rampaging rivers, let alone snow. This is written from Helena, incidentally. Meantime, I'm keeping the widow's home fire burning, very glad indeed to have so snug a haven at my convenience. My car took off with but very little trouble. The tires needed no air at all. The local mechanic in Junction City put in a new battery, cleaned the carburetor, gave me a short tow, and that was it. But now there are further legal complications. Yesterday I got a letter from my insurance company stating that my insurance was canceled as of June 3rd. This whole business has become so dizzy that I have given up trying to follow it. What I would like to do, what I think it is best to do, is to turn the car over to somebody who could get insurance. I don't want to sell it, first because it is a much better car than its age indicates, and secondly because I will be needing it eventually. So actually what I would like is to sign the car over to somebody, pay for the insurance myself, and give such a person full use of it in exchange for some periodic visits to Hobo Gulch, say once a month. This would be to bring in supplies. The logical person for this role, of course, is Ida Wise. But due to her age, it is next to impossible for her to get insurance. We have talked this over. It could be that one of these days I will get word from Sacramento to send back my plates, in which case I couldn't even sell the car. As of today, I can sell it. Today I can give it away. But as soon as the plates are gone, I can't give it away. I can't junk it. I can't push it in the river without being criminally liable. Absurdum ad absurdum. All this despite the fact that no papers have been served on me. There is no suit that I know about.
This came later.
Anyhow, until June 3rd, I am taking Ed Barry's tip to drive the car anywhere and everywhere. We're going to Weaverville for a load of supplies, almost hoping that I will be apprehended for driving without a driver's license. If you meet anybody who wants an automobile with paid-up insurance for nothing, I'm the guy to see. Yours for the revolution, George.
Well, eventually he did have papers served on him. He hid the automobile in the brush behind Idlewives, and when the statute of limitations was over, he exhumed it and gave it away. All right.
So much for
that goes in there.
Why the women all have their arms around each other at the same I have to put my whiskey down, but that's all right.
We're ready. The photographer's not around, but hers is. It doesn't look like we're in front
I
of
have to position myself very carefully and strategically here.
All right.
The ladies,
60 is fast enough. I don't know if you're shooting any fast.
I'm shooting 64 right now, so.
That's pretty high.
Well, 64. I would say a 60 is a 3.5 or 4.
Thank you.
Now, you can sit or stand. It's all the same for you. I'm going to make about 4 exposures.
Now wait a minute, I'm used to be in law enforcement. I don't want to finish it like this before the fact.
And these 4 exposures will allow a much greater chance of having pleasant frequency on all of us. And I will be calling off.
You said 5, 6?
I would say about 4.
4. Okay. Well,
drink whiskey in between each exposure. That proves our attitude.
Are you in the picture, Cal?
Somebody say whiskey.
Oh, well.
Cal, come on.
Cal,
you got
George.
I'll stand right here. No, somebody will be behind me or something. Absolutely.
I'm fine.
Well, I don't know. What's that guy seen? My couscous.
I was going to leave mine on.
Well, somebody At the same time, if anybody has anything I'd like to say about George, I think that would be wonderful. For myself, I'm sort of speechless. He was so much a part of our lives, and we talked so much about him. I didn't really know what else to add. We do have a wonderful letter from his niece, which I've asked Cal to read to everyone. It's very short. And why don't we start off with that? Cal, are you there?
Yeah.
Could you come and read the letter to us?
Could I say something briefly before Cal starts? Jenny Duck was probably one of the last people to see George, and one thing he said that I think we should bear in mind now is that he didn't want a service, he wanted a celebration. He said, go up to the North Fork and correct me if I'm wrong, Jenny, but go up to the North Fork with some champagne and do it in that fashion. So
and that's what we're doing.
Let's keep it in that fashion, you know, not get too, you know, too serious. And this is true. Yeah, this is a celebration, not a service.
It's not a mournful time.
It's okay.
He wasn't Norwegian, he was Irish. He wanted a wake.
That's right. Okay. Cal?
Cal, why don't you read this? We thought it was extra special kind of letter that she wrote.
Dear Willard, from Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, Mark Antony says, his life was gentle, and the elements so mixed in him that nature might stand up and say to all the world, this was a man. This also was you. It is fitting that your elements be mixed with the elements of your mountain. Your spirit will continue to soar, not only over the Pfeiffer Flat, but in our landlocked location too. You have supplied an important ingredient in my and my family's lives. It is called romance. It began at the time that you held me as a small child on the back of a new colt, and continued through the last night that we spent together reading the manuscript until the morning arrived. You did for us what we could not do. You went where we could not go and brought those experiences home to us. I shall miss your short, cryptic notes, and always with the promise of a long letter. Perhaps someone will make the long letter come to fruition. You and I named that long letter to an angel. For now, we shall see in a mirror dimly, but then the face to face. Now I know in part that I shall understand fully, even as I have been fully understood. This from 1 Corinthians 13:12. You have experienced much, and now the ultimate. You have seen clearly the face of God. We love you. This from Carol Berger, his niece.
Thank you, Cal. It's wonderful. Before we put this down in the ground, does anybody else want to say anything?
Jenny, you want to say something?
Well, here's to going up the line.
He was the last one to meet.
Bedrock or bust?
Hey, I'd like to say thank you, George, for just being here.
Thanks for everything.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Here's a lot.
for another party.
And the real nuggets are right here in this group.
Right.
They're all gems.
I might say that George was a gentleman to the last. The day before he died, he put up his hand and shook hands, and that was it. That's wonderful.
Clear in his head and
Yes.
gentlemanly and wonderful right up to the end.
And that's where he went.
And he was the livest person in the coronary care unit. Doctors, staff, patients, everyone.
In life.
He really was.
And say what they said at St. Francis at his residence.
When you took Cal
When
there.
you took Cal there, did they say something about how he is
Oh.
the resident that they loved the most?
Oh, they really did, and they said, and all sorts of people came, you know, every age. Cal, do you remember?
there.
Steve, did you say something?
For a very anti-clerical soul, this has been...
The Trinity Historical Society Annual Bulletin 1990 was an Indian statement. Indian has a piece on recollections, and that's to say,
Steve, can you speak up a little?
that little log house on Pfeiffer Flat is the handiwork of a friend and people who love each other in search of a better way to live. And that's all of us.
Oh, it's all and to Bill Harvey
And to Bill, yes.
Where is Bill?
He's buried in
He's around
someplace.
This is not going to end our talk about memories of George,
No.
but does anyone want to help me put this in? Or before he goes?
And there's a very nice Latin one which goes STTL, sit terra levis. May the earth rest lightly upon you. Tibby.
Maybe I'll find a box in the bag.
I used to eat those at Shawning and Lake School. They never fed us. Fathers and boys always.
That's true. That's a good way of putting it. Never have. But where's the horseshoes?
No, they're not really around.
They're gone, right?
Right over here.
Yeah, well, we used to throw them. That's the Catholic stadium.
Yeah. I know this is my feedback. Is there anything in
No, I never played horseshoes before.
Oh, no, I have.
You know, I may do. I may. I throw that in there.
I had. Every time
And I was actually gone when we finally made the arrangement.
we got it on radio. And you know, it's divided by 80. So I maybe I'll if anybody has
I was actually gone. I had asked him to come out.
Yeah, I might have to read it. I don't know how well the print will come out.
I don't either. Well, George was very much disturbed about the new signs and restrictions on the area, and so this letter was written in a sense in protest. But the interesting thing is that the drawings that illustrate this letter were always all done on his typewriter. He became a real typewriter artist, and I'm going to let Todd read it from here on.
All right, this is a letter to Frank from George. Doesn't have a date on it, but oh yes, it does too. June 26, 1959. Written from here, from his cabin. It starts out with a note which says, "The Forest Service, stirred by some mysterious force, is taking a new interest in the region. The line about the vehicles would seem to most be unnecessary, for there is no place for a vehicle of any kind to proceed further excepting into a river on one side or up a hill on the other, but as accurately could be called a cliff. But then it must be supposed that the gentry knows what their sign is saying. Dear Frank, this being one of those lazy mountain days when working at anything at all seems an outrage and a sin, I thought I might spend it gainfully writing you a letter, trusting that one day, as may be, I will have a chance to mail it. Writing a letter is, you know, a social act. It presupposes another, and in so doing serves as a salve to my conscience, sometimes smitten in this respect by bringing me within the community of men. The tendency is to let oneself go on an orgy of self-indulgence, daring to spend hour on hour ruminating at will through one's backlog of thoughts, building and rebuilding structures of the imagination suitable to one's fancy, and all in all behaving precisely as if nothing mattered in the world excepting one's own delectation of mind. An extravagant way of life, don't you think? But having tried other ways and having found that my contributions to the well-being of others have been negligible, I have concluded that I can best leave others to their own devices in pursuit of my heart's content, any will-o'-the-wisp interesting enough to excite my imagination, free from restrictions imposed from without and heeding only those coming from within. After so much by way of preamble, I come to the matter of bears, a much safer subject. I have a great deal of respect for these animals. I haven't met up with one yet, but that I've thought salutations were in order. After a brief interchange of looks, a bear ambles off, not hurriedly but politely, and I've often thought considerately in view of my personal concern. And I amble off too, politely, grateful that our meeting was conducted on so friendly a basis. In a sense, we meet as equals. This can't be said of deer or of any of the cats. They evoke no such response. No matter how elegant a buck may be, and they can be elegant, it isn't as equals we meet. And as for respect, respect is mingled with fear, and deer of all animals are least to be feared. The big cat, on the other hand, while he is to be feared, can't be respected for his treacherous habits, and even I would shoot one on sight, whereas only after much hesitation and then reluctantly would I shoot a bear. Hence I can stir up no hatred for the bear that made havoc in my cabin. For 2 days I did little but study his antics. Some were deft beyond belief, others were simply ludicrous. He was vandal and clown, master of destruction, and adroit at the light touch. He was curious about my blackboard, for example, and the feeling of it. Pitted the, and then there's a drawing done on his typewriter of his cabin. In his many trips in and out, the bear used the same window, contrary to the common notion that a bear never leaves by the same way he entered. But a curious incident overtook him here. On my big table, just inside the 3 windows, I kept my matches in a big tin canister. This canister, as most other cans and boxes he took outside, where he proceeded to crunch the individual boxes, igniting one. Did the flame and fire burn his muzzle and scare him away? I think so. I think his mouth was badly burned, and that he was glad to take off his work of demolition, only well started. Hard these surfaces with his claws, and yet curious about my mirror, in which he must have been startled by his own image, he blotted over with mere brushings with his doughy paw. Flour was everywhere. Cornmeal, beans, spaghetti, and all variety of cereals were told from the shelves and added to the rubble on the floor. His main delight seems to have been sugar, canned goods of all kinds running a close second. Out of a couple of hundred assorted cans, only 2 remained unpunctured. These were mushrooms, which he spurned not only in the canned form but dried. Coffee he had no taste for, but out of 9 cans he sent a single sharp-eyed tooth in all but 1. Milk he loved, but strangely enough he made away with only 2 cases out of 4. My eggs were mostly untouched. He hadn't gotten to them yet. My potatoes stored in a closet he hadn't found. Always fearful of glass, not a single meat jar was broken, although how this could have been avoided is a wonder. The better to reach the upper shelves, he climbed onto my cooking stove, crumpling it under him. This is the most serious single item of damage. Not interested in books, he merely knocked out one shelf in passing. My record collection he treated carefully, brushing only a few albums to the floor, but he was intrigued by tobacco. The 5-pound cans I had on hand were all sampled, a few mauled and chewed, but one, a can of Granger, he took outside and ate the whole pound. His interest in matches, however, remains a conundrum. They are not good to eat. They have a strong sulfur smell. One would think he would bat a canister of them around, perhaps, but to take the whole can outside, some 30-odd kitchen-sized boxes of them, and there work them over is odd, for it was only items he wanted to finish off completely and savor thoroughly that he took outside. Further, he carried these matches around the cabin, spilling none, and there in the snow began chewing the individual boxes. One box full of tooth holes shows clearly his method. In doing this, by crunching heads together, one box exploded. To test this out, I dropped a stone on the head side of a matchbox and it went up in a fierce blue flame. So that is why he left and didn't come back when there was yet many delights remaining for him, things to smell and maul and investigate in his clownish ways. Left to myself, I would let the matter rest as is, on the principle that when one lives in the woods, one must abide by life in the woods, including the bears. If one doesn't like bears, then there are cities and towns and gentle countrysides for them where there are none. But it happens that I am not the only one concerned. Other cabins and camps have been broken up. The rumor is that the Fish and Game Authority brought up numbers of bears from Yosemite Park, where there was an overpopulation of them, and released them in these mountains where it was felt there was an underpopulation. How true this is, I don't know. The county game warden knew nothing about it. In any case, the country is up in arms. The hunters down on the river, the Trinity that is, and gun-toters always anxious to unlimber their weapons now have a cause to join. Shooting bears to some is always good sport, but how much better the sport when it is joined to a cause. When I arrived in Helena, I found a permit to hunt and trap bears already made out for me and duly signed by the game warden. Along with a permit to trap, a vicious-looking thing with spiked jaws spreading a good 10 inches. In order to set it, I must have clamps, and these were provided. Then I must have instructions. These the game warden gave me in person. The approaches to the trap must be marked with at least 2 plainly lettered signs. Under the trap, the clamps must be left. This is for the benefit of those who can't read, or those in no wise believe in signs. Such persons, if caught, could let themselves loose. Further, sound advice was given me as to methods of trapping bears. Of this there was an abundance. The surest method was to build a 3-wall log contrivance. The heavier logs, the better, at the far end of which the bait was to be deposited. And he's done with his typewriter a picture, drawing of the trap with a tree beside it saying, "Beware, bear trap." Then the trap must in any case be made fast as to a big tree. It must be toggled. A log would serve this purpose, but not too big a log. One just big enough to be dragged, but not so small as to be made off with. The trap should be chained to such a log chain would do, but then I had no log chain. I had to have a log chain, so a log chain was found. Still, and even so, I was not prepared. The bear is a dangerous animal. Is it true that I have only a .22? Impossible. No one should be in bear country without a heavy rifle. Who has a gun they're not using? And so it came about that one evening at dusk, after the heat of the day, I left Helena for the bear country, armed and equipped. One burro loaded with trap and chain and a .30-30 slung from the side of my saddle. The full moon was 2 nights past, but came up at length. The burros, as anxious as I to get to the cooler, high elevations, went along at good pace. I came to the forest sign, read the line about wise use with some misgivings, plunged my animals into the river, preferring the easier canyon trail, the many crossings of the North Fork, the familiar bluffs and timbered flats, the long climbs and then more crossings. Dawn came and the sun was shining on the ridges over my flat when I arrived, a rare country and a good place to call home. I didn't mean to make so much of this letter when I started. The representations of the cabin, bear trap, etc. are not meant to be sketches, but suggestions of sketches, for God knows I know nothing about sketching, but I found it amusing doing them. About the bear again. Of course, I have no intention of using this trap. I was pressured into bringing it, and even if I was out to kill every bear I saw, still I couldn't use that implement of torture. There are more bears than usual. Their tracks are everywhere, big ones and little ones. But which one is the cabin breaker? Are bears to be killed indiscriminately because one of them is destructive? Yes, this is what will be done. The bear hunters are on their way, and with the sanction of the Forest Service and the law. I have 5 donkeys in my string this year instead of my own 3. 2 were wished on me. If you see any bear hunters with no bears to hunt, you might tell them to look me up. Hello to my friends in the Iron Pot. Yours from the bear country, George. And then a typewriter drawing of a .30 rifle. And that's the end.
I might comment here, since I'm Frank and the recipient of this letter. The following night, George was asleep in his bed and he felt that he heard a noise and he had the feeling he wasn't alone, and he saw the bear partly through the window of his cabin. He reached for his .30-30 and the bear, sensing his presence, moved out. George could see enough so that he took a shot at the bear in the flat just outside the cabin and saw him fall. Next morning he looked over the bear with a certain amount of guilt to find that the bear's lips were burned. And this alleviated some of the guilt, because after all he really didn't like to shoot bears, but he didn't want a continuation of the visits interrupting his sleep.
One addendum, I might add that the following year Joan and I went in with our son Christopher for the first time we ever visited George, and some of the bear meat was still canned, and George made us some bear stew, which was excellent.